Minus 60 seconds and counting.
Who is your best friend? Who can you come home to and know everything's going to be alright? Who is the one that will always follow you no matter where you might end up? That's right. It's your animal. It's your best friend, your closest companion, your partner till the end. But have you ever wanted to know more? What do they do when you're gone? Why do they do what they do? Or even think about other animals around the world. What do they do? How do they act? Why can't I have one of those? Well, sit back, hold tight, because here we go. Welcome to AnimalZ, Read All About It. It's a show open from anything from A to Z. It's all about the animals. So, what do you want to know? Where shall we go? Follow us as we dive deep into the animal kingdom. Welcome to AnimalZ. It's a show about everything and anything from A to Z about animals. On today's episode, we recap the semi-annual Meet Your Best Friend at the Zoo Day, swing by Almost Home Animal Rescue League in Haven to meet the Adoptable Pets of the Week, then venture over to the Novi Pet Expo for a weekend of animal education and fun, and then we end up at the Detroit Zoo to meet an animal that hides some of its meals in our tree. Can you guess who it is? It's all coming up on this episode of AnimalZ.
This is the 25th annual Meet Your Best Friend at the Zoo event. This is one of our signature events. This event is about the power of collaboration and what we can do when we work together on behalf of the animals that we care so deeply about. This is about the individual stories of the more than 800 animals that are here today and finding them new beginnings. It's about new families and rewriting stories. This is one of the most inspiring days of the year for me because it's an opportunity to really take in how much animals mean to us in our lives. I mean, we're going to see 700-800 animals find new homes this weekend. It is one of the largest adoption events, especially a collaborative adoption event in the country, and we're very proud of that fact. And so we hope to see between 500-800 animals find homes. I hope we exceed that number, and that's kind of our vision for how many we can place. Even if you're not here, you're just here to browse around, there's some incredible resources. We have some great corporate partnerships, not only in this community locally, but nationally. They're all here to help provide some information.
We're the Michigan Animal Rescue League. We're located in Pontiac. We have been proudly serving the community since 1953. Really the best part about it is that we get to expose our cats and dogs to a new audience. You know, there are people from all over Oakland County and Metro Detroit at this event, so we really get the opportunity to show off our awesome dogs and cats to potential adopters and hopefully find a perfect match for everybody. We became involved, I think, about 3 years ago. We just decided to try it out on a whim, and it was a huge success. I think we adopted over 20 animals over the first weekend we were here. So ever since then, we look forward to coming back every spring and fall. And we always say, you know, adopt, don't shop. People sometimes think that shelter animals have issues, kind of damaged goods, but you know, we really believe a lot of these cats and dogs are great. They have great personalities. They get overlooked a lot. So, you know, it's really important for people to consider adoption rather than going to a breeder and things like that, because they all really deserve a second chance.
We were invited several years ago by the Humane Society to come on in and show off our dogs and what we do with our rescue, and we've been coming every year since. Class A Dog Rescue is a non-profit rescue. We are foster-based, meaning we have all of our dogs in foster homes. We don't keep them inside kennel facilities, so that way they get the really attention that they need, the help that they need. We take in lots of dogs that sometimes have disabilities or are a little fearful of people or other dogs. We get them that training, that extra TLC that they need, so that way they can be adoptable dogs and be really great for the community. I feel it's better to adopt from a rescue or a shelter because you're saving a dog's life then. As opposed when you go to a breeder, you don't know, the background of the breeder. you don't really know what's going on, but as for a rescue and a shelter, they're going to be as upfront and honest with you as possible. They want these dogs and animals, cats, whatever they're adopting out, they want it to be in the most successful home as possible. So we're going to tell you every little bit of information we have, their history, their health, everything. And on top of that, you're going to save the life.
The Michigan Humane Society, alone saves more than 11,200 animals a year. And sometimes that number, the magnitude of that number, it just becomes a number. But what this event allows us to do is turn every number into an individual story. This is about the individual families that are here, connecting them to the right pet, and watching them fall in love for the first time. This is an incredible event, a comprehensive event, and it's about start to finish, finding a new pet and integrating that successfully into your life.
The one thing that I would lend as far as advice goes is don't adopt an animal on a whim. Do your research and do some, some self-evaluation of your family and your home situation. Make sure that your schedule provides time for a pet, because it's a big responsibility and they don't want to be left home all alone, and they may end up being destructive and act out in different behaviors because they have this energy they want to utilize, and if you're not allowing them to expend that energy, they could be doing things that you may see as disobedient, and in the case is that you're not providing the right environment for that pet. So energy levels, the amount of time it takes to spend with those pets, the amount of time that you have, things like that are the things you need to think of before bringing a pet home. And that's really important, because obviously we all have big hearts and we want to provide a home for these pets, but if it's not the right environment, the right home, we're not doing the right thing. We love supporting any and all local rescue groups, Michigan Humane Society being one of them. We've got a great partnership and a relationship with the Michigan Humane Society, and through them we've been able to donate thousands of pounds of food and tons of products, and helping them to facilitate getting these animals into homes and making sure that the people that have them in their homes are able to keep them in their homes, which is really important. Paws in the D is a program the Michigan Humane Society does, and we help facilitate that by providing them food, giving those products to families that are impoverished that may be giving up those animals and contributing to the thousands of animals that are in rescues currently. So we're able to actually offset that, by making sure these people can afford to keep their pets. It blows my mind how many animals get adopted on these 2 days that they do, one in the spring and one in the fall. It's so overwhelming. It's actually, it's amazing, because you think about the fact that people have the opportunity to see all these animals in one venue all at one time, which really helps give the rescues that sometimes don't get the exposure that they normally do. The Michigan Humane Society, I think, is very generous in allowing them to do that, but what really is fantastic is the number of animals that get adopted. It's in the hundreds every time they do this event. And I love that, and I love that these animals that didn't have a home now are finding their forever homes and in the hands of families that'll love them forever. Michigan
Humane Society is more than just a local organization. We're extremely proud of our Detroit history and our impact right here in the southeast Michigan. However, we have a regional impact and we have a national presence, and these animals need your help. And in order for us to continue to build upon these programs, support has never been more important. So whether it's donating, volunteering, adopting, we need people to step up in this community. You can go to michiganhumane.org, you can call us, you can stop by any of our facilities, and we need your help.
Animal trivia. What animal is considered to be Michigan's state animal but has been seen in the Michigan wilderness for over 5 years? Stay tuned to find out the answer. In the meantime, let's visit Almost Home and see who's ready to be adopted.
This is Darla. She's 1 year old. She's up to date on her shots. She's spayed and she's looking for a forever home. This is Francis. He's 3 years old. He's up to date on his shots and he's neutered. He should be the only cat in the house. Other cats intimidate him. He tolerates other dogs. He's looking to have his dreams come true, to have a forever home for the holidays. This is Rusty here. He's a 2-year-old male. He's neutered. He loves belly rubs and cuddles. He's good with other cats, and he's looking for his forever home, hopefully for the holidays. For more information on Rusty or any other of our animals, come on in to the shelter, bring your family, or visit our website.
We hope everyone finds their forever home soon. Now let's turn to the Novi Pet Expo, where we meet every kind of animal, all housed under one roof for a very exciting weekend of animal education and fun.
The Novi Pet Expo is a family fun event where you can come to the event and not only see adoptable animals that are available for adoption, there is tons of merchandise to be able to buy for your pet to take home. We have entertainment on every corner of the expo, between dock diving dogs, agility dogs, Sarah Carson and Hero from America's Got Talent. We had bird entertainers, canine police demonstrations, you name it, we got it. This year is different from previous years because I think there's more things to do, there's more things to watch and see. We have lots of different entertainers here. There's even more vendors than we've ever had, over 150 vendors here at this event, and most of them are all pet related, so it's just different than before because it's bigger. I don't know if anybody's watched America's Got Talent, but Sarah Carson and Hero are here in live and performing. Every time you see stunt dogs on our paperwork, her and Abby Klein are going to be doing a show all weekend long, and then, like I said, there's non-stop things for you to see, do, rock and roll canines, the ultimate air dogs, the canine demonstrations with the police, and so different things like that. So there's booths all over the place between the Michigan Humane Societies here on site, giving information about how to know what type of animal to adopt with your family, education on breed awareness, and just to learn how to train your pet. You can go to any of like our obedience groups that we have here. Lots of trainers are on site, how to raise your pet with positive reinforcement, and then a lot of people that are even owning their own company are really actively involved with the pet industry, so they can really help answer even questions that you might have, and if they don't, they know somebody that can be able to educate you to be able to know what to do with like aggressive behavior, or how to get your dog to obediently listen to you, and different things like that. I love the animals. I'm an animal person myself. I have a husky at my house as well, so I love seeing all the families come here, gather, bring their animals, which they're excited about bringing because there's not tons of places you can bring them to, you know. And then I love the people that I get to work with, between like my sponsor Premier Pet Supply, Doggy Scoops, I can keep going, and then all the vendors that come to the show, and all of the 25 different rescues that we have this year, all of them are really nice and able and cooperative, and we have a good relationship.
It's huge. It's more than what I really expected. I expected to see a few dog shows and events like that, but no, I was surprised to see the variety of animals and services offered here. It is our first year, so we really didn't know what to expect, and I picked 4 of my great horses to come out here, and they're already proving to handle this just great. We are offering the pony rides for $5. We're also trying to raise money and awareness of a special fund that we've created called Angels and Horseshoes Ghost Fund, and that fund is a giving back grant, so we're gifting money back to help short-term loan for animals in need. The Angels and Horseshoes organization itself, we take on children and individuals that are facing challenges to come spend time, one-on-one time, with one of our horses. And these challenges can range from trauma, grief, addiction, bullying, just about anything. We're not going to turn anybody away, but this is one-on-one time that they can spend being normal, if you will. You know, what is our term for normal? But horses are very honest animals, and they give back what you give. And spending time with the horse lets them open up and actually be themselves without judgment, without hatred, without fear. And if they want to spend that time just brushing the horse for an hour, that's what they do. If they want to come back and just talk to the horse for an hour, that's what they'll do. We also offer a lesson, we do trail rides, just any interaction with one of our horses It's all about that person and that horse, and the horse does all the work. We have a mentor that spends the same time, but they just stand back. They're not therapists, they're not counselors. They make sure that the situation stays safe. So those are our horse experts, if you will. Oh my gosh, it really goes, it stems back about 15 years when I received a book for Christmas from my mother, and it's a book called Hope Rising by Kim Meter. She has a youth ranch out in Oregon, and this was her creation, and she has, in the 20 years, spread it worldwide. And what she does is take in challenged youth, and they have all kinds of activities, and it's a beautiful Christian setup. And when I read the book, I said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I'd never had that kind of epiphany before. It's like, I've been doing public trail rides for 25 years, and I knew that I was going to change my direction. And when I read the book, I was like, this is my goal. This is what I'm going to do. So we started this with the blessings of the Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch, which is the ranch over in Oregon. They had a clinic, so I went to the clinic and kind of got my feet wet and took off from there. Our website is angelsinhorseshoes.org. There's a lot of information on there. And please be sure to ask about our fund that we're starting. It's called Ghost Fund. And we take in money and then we give back to the community. People looking for short-term financial help, when they have an animal in need, they contact us and we grant them a gift of what we feel would be helpful.
We've been doing the Novi Pet Expo for about 10 years, and we got involved just because they said we could come out here and get a booth. And when we started, we had a 10 by 20 booth when we started, and we have since grown into what we have now. And we have, I don't know how many members that come out and help us support this. I think every year it's always different. You're always seeing a different group of people, but the other thing that makes this expo so nice is you're dealing with a lot of people who are pet-oriented, and so it's like hanging out with people that understand what you're doing, because a lot of people where I work, they just kind of, they don't get it, they don't understand it, but when you're here, people understand, they know what you're doing, and they're truly interested in what you're saying, so we get a lot of good information out there, and well, hopefully we stop some people from getting one of these guys for the wrong reason. We're a club and we're a rescue. We started in 1997, and what we do is we try to educate people, and we also do the bird rescue part of it, because a lot of people, sometimes they get over their heads, or just because they live so long, they have to find a place for the birds to go, so they'll end up calling us to take their birds. We evaluate the bird, and then we adopt them out and find a home. This is Captain Morgan. Really, yeah. This is Captain Morgan, and he's a blue and gold macaw. He came. Yeah, he said I'm not going to be ignored. Well, he came to me when he was 12. I've had him for 10 years. He's 22, and he will live to be 60, 70, even 80 years old. 100 is even not out of the question. Well, you can expect to interact with a lot of different birds, and what we do is, our main goal is to educate, so that people get a bird for the right reasons, and they know exactly what they're getting into. Because a lot of people don't realize that a bird like this has a cage big enough that I can lay down in comfortably. And as you just heard, he's extremely loud. And they're very, very intelligent. They have the ability of a 4-year-old, but the problem is they stay 4-year-olds forever. So, but if you know what you're getting into and you know what you want, then they can make great pets. And that's why we're here. We're here to make sure that people understand, because some people, oh, I want a bird that talks, I think it would be so cool. Well, the problem is sometimes you get the talking, but then you get the screaming part of it too, and it's not that cool. Oh yeah, they can get in touch with us through our website, which is rfbirdclub.com, or they can come to one of our meetings where we meet usually the fourth Sunday of every month, at the First United Methodist Church at Garden City at 2 o'clock. And even if you don't have birds, you're thinking, come on down. We will take you through all the different birds and help you make a decision. Or if you've got a bird that you want socialized, we bring them to the meetings, we socialize the birds, we make sure everybody's okay. What? He says, I'm on camera, so I get to be, show me what an eagle looks like.
We got involved because a number of years ago we were actually invited to the Kennel Club show in January, and then Jackie got a hold of my wife and said, hey, not only do we want the dogs for the Kennel Club show, but we want for the Pet Expo. So they asked me to come out, and they're like, we'll give you a couple tables to help we do your fundraising, and you'll do a couple demonstrations for us. So that's how I ended up here. You'll expect to see my wife and I, 2 of our dogs. Kaiser, my first canine partner who's now retired. You'll have to see Duke, my current partner. And then during the demonstrations we do a narcotics demo. I bring both dogs because Kaiser's just an aggressive alert dog, so they can see how an aggressive alert works compared to a passive alert, which is what Duke does. And then I just spend most of my time answering a lot of questions about police work and canine work. The biggest one is, what language does the dog respond to commands in? Most people see on TV that the dogs respond in German or Dutch, and that's only because the dogs came from those countries, whereas my dogs were born right here in Michigan, so they straight up English. Actually, I train with one of the retired Southfield canine handlers that works for Providence now, Jeff Medici, and then Ashley and all those. The group that we all certify with, we all go to Alpena, so I know the Southfield handlers, Mike Raby, another one. Southfield's been really lucky. They've got some really great dog handlers. Yep. So, and Southfield's got 3 or 4 dogs running around, so they're very lucky. It's something I kind of always wanted to do. It was one of those that it's a very expensive endeavor to get involved in. So a lot of the smaller departments, I grew up in a small town, I worked for a small town. I like small town policing. So my program was all self-funded. I got the dogs donated, the equipment donated, the training donated. We do this to keep our funding so that we're 100% self-funded. So, I mean, it's not only something I enjoy doing, I love doing, because I'm actually here on my own time raising money for my program. They're not as mean as they're made out to be on TV, but at the same time, don't just go walking up to a police canine thinking that they're a social dog. Some are, some aren't, but you have to ask.
We are actually from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and all of the birds that you see here are rescued animals. Some started off as pets, some came from some good homes, not so much some of the others. But what we try to do is we don't buy, sell, or breed. All we try to do is just educate people. It's not that we condone people owning birds, but if you're going to get one, do your homework. It's just like everything else. But with birds, they live a very, very long time. And people, unfortunately, purchase a bird, don't do their research, have no idea what they're getting themselves into, and after about 6 or 8 months, the novelty sort of wears off, and they wind up just rehoming or reselling the bird. And parrots aren't much for change. They like stability. And when you're moving them home to home, or for them, flock to flock, it can be very traumatic for them. Right here today we have, I believe, 26. But at home I care for almost 100 birds. Our program was started by a very good friend of mine. His name was John Leegee. He was the original, that guy with the birds. John, unfortunately, we lost to cancer. It'll be 2 years this coming March. And John and I have done this expo for the last couple of years. But before his passing, he asked if I would not only take over the program, and continue on his legacy, but also to take over his flock as well. And he cared for over 100. I had 22 myself, my wife and I. So the change to go from John's house over to our house has been quite the undertaking. Well, I started off just like everybody else. I had cockatiels when I was a kid, and about 15 years ago I decided, well, I'm going to get me one of those big parrots. So I did. I purchased an umbrella cockatoo. I brought him home. I named him Captain Morgan. Thought he was the coolest thing ever. But I had done some homework, but not enough. And those beaks were very intimidating. But I was fortunate enough to meet John. We happened to shop at the same place for food. And we hit it off right away. I started traveling with him, helping do the educational programs, and the rest is history, as they say. Honestly, the people are so nice here. We always get very nice, decent crowds. Always get very good compliments, good questions, because we love that. We love getting those questions to be able to answer for people that are actually thinking about, looking into possibly getting a bird, because a lot of times they go, oh, I didn't know that, or the breeder didn't tell me that. So, a lot of times, even if we get one person to say, maybe a big macaw isn't for me, maybe I'll start off with a cockatiel or something smaller, then I feel like I've done my job. You can go to our website, which is thatguywiththebirds.com. We also have a Facebook page, That Guy with the Birds on Facebook, and that's the most common way to get in touch with us.
Well, what we do is we focus on education and conservation related to reptiles and amphibians. And so that's our main focus. We've actually been coming here since it started, so we've been here almost every year. I think there might have been just one, actually no, we've been here every year. So it's part of our mission to share some information about reptiles and amphibians with the public, to let them know that, like a snake maybe isn't so scary, and things like that. So to kind of dispel some myths, kind of show some people that maybe are allergic to fur or feathers. Reptiles and amphibians are hypoallergenic, so they can have a snake where they couldn't have a bird, a hamster, a dog, or a cat. So a lot of people ask, does it bite? And I always say, well, anything with a mouth can bite. So they're not prone to. We've worked with a lot of these animals, so they're not really prone to bite the public. They're used to, like, for example, you'll see a common snapping turtle, where if you were to encounter one in the wild, it's going to be snapping, trying to bite you. Any way you try to grab it, it's going to be trying to bite you. Where this one, you can even touch its head. He's got pictures of his grandson actually riding on top of it, and it's perfectly fine. So we got the third largest tortoise species in the world is the sulcata tortoise, or an African spur-thighed tortoise. So we got those here. We've got some large lizards, like tegu lizards. We're gonna have two different kinds here, red tegus and black and white tegus. We'll also have several different kinds of snakes. I think we got maybe 20 or 30 different kinds of snakes here. We tried to keep it more, the ones that are more pet friendly as opposed to those that aren't. I think on Sunday we will have an alligator here. There'll be animals that are coming in and out, so some people could only volunteer for Saturdays, some people could only volunteer for Sundays, so there's going to be different animals here almost every single day. They're their own personal animals. We have several people like Lois and Charlie who come all the way from Grand Rapids to be here. They've got probably maybe close to 30 animals here, so those are their own personal animals. I've always had an interest in reptiles and amphibians, so I went to an event like this and joined the organization. The organization has been around since 1975. It was reorganized in 1978 and has been going ever since. We're kind of centrally located in Lansing. However, we've got members all over the state and even outside the state, and even in Canada. So, well, they can go out to our website, which is missherp.org, and they can go onto the membership page and they can join right there. Well, I think that the most important thing is they're not as scary as people think they are. Even even snakes, which always gets the bad rap, or even rattlesnakes, for example. I've done over 15 years of work on rattlesnakes here in Michigan, and they're a very misunderstood creature. And I think that if people just had the opportunity to even touch one, to experience one, which is a lot of what we do, we try to get people the opportunity to even touch most of the animals we have. It gets in that experience that, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. You know, that's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. So that's kind of like one of the things that we try to focus
on. We do all sorts of rescue work with dogs, primarily. We do occasionally get cats in there. We also do domestic violence. We house domestic violence animals, people fleeing from certain situations, oftentimes resort and go back to that bad environment because of an animal, because of a loved, beloved pet, and they don't want to leave it there, but they have nowhere for that pet to go. We'll house them. We agree to house them, and for a certain period of time until they can get back on their feet. We are a huge adoptable rescue. We've got, I don't know the square footage, but we have a huge building. We've housed up to 70 dogs at one time. We try to keep the numbers down towards 40, a better manageable number, but we adopt out on a regular basis. We pull from high-kill shelters, all sorts, out-of-state rescues, all kinds of stuff. Anybody who requests help, we try and help out when we can. Something that our organization that sets us above others is we don't do same-day adoptions. What we like to do is set our dogs up for success, as well as the families that are adopting them. We do meet and greets with any other animals in the household. If it's a bird, we've done meet and greets with birds before to make sure the dog gets along with them. Cats, other dogs, anybody in the household that lives there, we do intros with them and make sure everybody gets along. We remain in contact with the adopters afterwards. We offer training and socialization classes for any dog that's ever been adopted from us. We do, if there's ever any issues arising, we have an in-house trainer. We'll contact them and set up in-home visits and stuff like that. We do anything we can to try and help set the dogs and the family up for success. Novi Pet Expo is a huge, huge expo, and we've been here for 2 or 3 years now. We've been here every year, and the amount of dogs, I think we've gotten at least 20 dogs adopted every year we've come here, which is a huge number. We deal with a lot of pit bulls. A lot of organizations have trouble adopting out pit bulls and large breed dogs. We've actually had pretty good luck. I don't know if it's the area, but we do really well adopting out both pit bulls and large breed dogs. If we have a chance to get one adopted dog out, it's a chance to bring in another dog that is in a bad situation or something like that we can help out. Well, the best thing is to email us. We are volunteer run, so we don't have someone who mans the phones at all time. So email is the best. And then we also have our physical location where I believe it's 22415 Groesbeck, but it's just south of 9 Mile on Groesbeck in Warren, Michigan.
Animal trivia. The Wolverine is considered to be Michigan's state animal, but has not been seen in Michigan's wilderness in over 5 years. But we're in luck because the Detroit Zoo just happens to have one of their very own.
Hi, welcome to the Detroit Zoo. Today we're out in front of our Wolverine habitat. We right now have one Wolverine. She's about 10 years old and it's a female, and her name is Anna. She's been with us for about 5 years. She came from another zoo about 5 years ago. Wolverines are the largest member of the mustelid family, which is basically the weasel family. So she's closely related to weasels and otters and animals like that. Wolverines can be kind of the size of a medium to large dog. The females can be a lot smaller, so maybe about 20 pounds to 50 pounds or so. Anna's probably about 50 pounds, but a male can be upwards of 45 or 50 pounds or even larger. You know, Wolverines are really adapted for foresty, snowy areas. She loves the snow here. It's great. She is great to see in the winter. She's a wonderful animal to come visit in the winter because she loves the snow. But they mostly like forests. They like northern climate. They can be found in Canada and Alaska and some states in the United States like Wyoming and out west. Our understanding is that they're not, historically, there may have been populations in Michigan, but these days there probably aren't. There hasn't been any wolverines seen in Michigan for many, many years. They do have very large home ranges and they do travel many, many miles. So years ago, I think it's been 5 years or more, there was a sighting in Michigan, but there hasn't been sightings in quite some time. For the most part, they are solitary. They have very large home ranges. The males and females will come together to breed, and then the female creates a den where the kids are born. But yes, mostly they're solitary. Mostly they're doing a lot of traveling. A lot of their travel is dictated by what kind of food is in their areas. They often are known to follow wolves or follow other predators and eat the leftovers from the predators that they leave behind. But they also will hunt on their own. They will hunt for small animals like squirrels and rabbits and those kind of things. They're considered to be active kind of in the early morning and the evening, and sometimes even considered to be somewhat nocturnal. Our Wolverine here, she is up and about a lot. She is very active and she loves to climb up in the trees. So I always suggest when people come here to look at the habitat, look on the ground, on the grassy areas, but always look up in the trees because she really loves to be up there. Wolverines have very strong legs and they have strong claws and they are capable of bounding over hills and rocks and trees and climbing up in trees. And one of the things about Anna and Wolverines in general, they often take a cache of their food supplies and hide it to eat later. And it's not uncommon that she'll hide a bone or a piece of meat or something up in a tree and then go up and get it at a later date. They're carnivores, so they're primarily eating meat like carnivores do. So it's not uncommon that they would eat the carrion, what the leftovers from animals that the wolves have taken down, such as caribou and other kind of hoofstock that would be left behind. But they also will hunt on their own and they'll go after other small mammals, maybe some small birds. They are not considered endangered at this point, though they're considered animals that the population is decreasing a little bit. So there's certain animal that's on watch, but there are quite a few of them in the northern areas in Canada. The biggest predator that you'd find in the wild for a wolverine would probably be a wolf. Wolverines are very strong, they're very powerful, and they certainly have a reputation for being tough predators. And they are, absolutely. They have been known to take down animals bigger than them as prey items. So they certainly can be very tough. Anna, of course, is used to her keepers and people that she knows, but we certainly never get in her space. We never go in the yard with her. We want her always to feel safe, and she knows when she's out in her habitat yard, the keepers are not going to come out there and be with her. Just last summer, we were able to enlarge Anna's habitat, which is wonderful. We were able to take down a wall. There was a smaller habitat next to her space and enlarged it. And she's got other trees to climb, another wonderful place to play in. So again, when you come here as a zoo visitor, please walk around the entire habitat, look along all the rocks and all the trees, and you'll probably see her up in a tree or curled up in one of her favorite spots in one of the logs. The Wolverine habitat is located kind of to the west end, the far end of the zoo near the barn. So when you come in the main entrance, start following through the main path, past the main fountain. When you get to the fountain, you're about halfway to Wolverines. And when you see the barn, it's right next door. In captivity, probably into their teens. In the wild, a 10-year-old Wolverine would be getting kind of old, but it's not uncommon that animals in zoos live much longer years. They have vitamins, they have vet checks, they have vaccinations. So we expect Anna to be with us for many years to come. She's very strong and very healthy. We've had Wolverines for many years. Until a few years ago, she did have a partner. He passed on just last year. He was quite elderly. But they are solitary animals, and she's doing very well just living on her own here. She seems to like it just fine. We are always looking to make improvements and make habitats bigger and better. We have just recently completed a large expansion for the giraffes. So the giraffes have a wonderful large new indoor area and new outdoor yards. We are also starting in the very near future a very large expansion of the tiger habitat. So that construction should be coming up in the next few months. I always want to remind people we are open all the time. We're only closed a few days a year during the holidays, but we are open, and a winter or a nice brisk fall day is a wonderful time to come to the zoo. A lot of the animals, like the wolverines and animals that really enjoy the cold weather, are out and active, so we certainly encourage people to still keep coming to the zoo. We also have a great holiday event coming up, our Wild Lights, which is going to be weekends in November and December. Please check our website and you can get exact times and dates for that. But it's a wonderful walk through a portion of the zoo with lights and wonderful festivities for the holidays.
And be sure to mark your calendars for these animal events and celebration as we welcome the new year. Well, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of AnimalZ. If you have anything you would like to see, please feel free to swing by our Facebook page, Southfield Multimedia Services, and leave us a note. And from all of us here at AnimalZ, have a wild and happy new year.